Chosen one, listen carefully. Something has been happening around you. You felt it long before you understood it. A shift in the room, a subtle tightening of energy, a silence that falls the moment you arrive. You noticed it in conversations. You noticed it in workplaces. You noticed it in family gatherings. The atmosphere changes. People stop speaking as freely. Eyes glance sideways. Tension quietly rises. At first you questioned yourself. You wondered if you were imagining things. You wondered if maybe you were too sensitive, too observant, too intense. But deep down, something in you knew. This wasn't coincidence, because this pattern followed you everywhere. New places, new circles, different environments. Yet the reaction was strangely the same. Chosen one, understand this. What you are experiencing is not social awkwardness. It is spiritual friction. There is a reason the room shifts when you walk in. And today you are going to understand why. Because there are markers that reveal when a chosen one carries supernatural radiance. Not symbolic radiance, not poetic language. Real spiritual light. Light that exposes, light that disrupts. Light that cannot be ignored by the unseen realm. And that light has consequences. The world celebrates calm surfaces, but heaven celebrates truth. And when truth enters a room, illusion begins to tremble. That is why this message is important for you, because many chosen ones misinterpret the reactions they receive. They assume people dislike them. They assume they are doing something wrong. They assume their presence is the problem. But what if the opposite is true? What if your presence is not the disturbance? What if it is the exposure? Listen carefully. In this message, you will uncover 9 markers that reveal when your supernatural radiance has become a direct weapon against the Dark Kingdom's plans. Not everyone will understand this. Some people will hear these words and dismiss them. But the chosen ones, the marked ones, the ones who have always felt different, you will recognize it immediately, because these markers describe things you have lived through for years. Moments that confused you, moments that wounded you, moments that made you feel isolated. But isolation was never the full story. There was warfare happening around you. And many of those battles began the moment your light entered the room. If this message resonates with your spirit, take a moment right now. Subscribe to this channel. Stand with this community of awakened ones. Because what we reveal here is not surface motivation. This is spiritual clarity, and clarity is a weapon. Now stay with me, because the first marker may explain something you have experienced your entire life. First, your presence agitates what pretends to be peace. You have walked into rooms that seemed calm. Everything looked normal. Conversations flowed. People laughed. The atmosphere felt smooth. Then you entered, and something changed. You felt it instantly. The conversation shifted direction. Someone grew quiet. Someone became defensive. Someone suddenly looked uncomfortable. No argument had happened. No accusation was made. Yet the tension was undeniable. Have you ever experienced that? Of course you have, chosen one. This is one of the earliest markers that your radiance carries disruptive authority, because the world often calls something peace when it is actually quiet compromise, false harmony, unspoken deception, hidden motives. And when your presence enters that environment, something deeper activates. Light exposes, not aggressively, not loudly, but undeniably. People who operate comfortably inside compromise suddenly feel seen. Even if you never say a word, your energy carries discernment, your spirit carries alignment, and darkness cannot fully relax around alignment. That is why certain people feel uneasy near you. They cannot explain it. They may even convince themselves they simply don't like your vibe. But their spirit knows something their mind cannot articulate. Your presence interrupts what they were hiding. You were never meant to blend into false atmospheres. You were sent to reveal them. And the Dark Kingdom recognizes that long before people do. Which is why the agitation often appears before you even speak, before you share your ideas, before you challenge anything. Your light arrives first, and the unseen realm reacts. This is not rejection, it is exposure. And exposure is one of heaven's most powerful weapons. But understand something important. If your presence already agitates hidden darkness, then the warfare around you will not remain small, because once darkness realizes it cannot hide in your presence, it begins preparing resistance, and that leads directly to the next marker. Second, you attract resistance before you ever speak. Have you noticed that moments where opposition appeared before you had done anything, before you expressed an opinion, before you challenged anyone, before you even revealed who you truly are, yet somehow, tension was already forming? Someone began watching you closely. Someone became strangely competitive. Someone developed an attitude you could not explain. And you stood there wondering, what did I do? Chosen one, listen carefully. You did nothing wrong. This is one of the clearest markers that your radiance is already recognized in the spiritual realm, because darkness does not wait for you to act. Darkness reacts to what you carry. You see, the world evaluates people by what they say and what they do, but the unseen realm evaluates people by what they are, by the weight of their spirit, by the authority resting on their life, by the destiny written over their existence. And when that destiny carries threat, resistance begins early, sometimes very early. Have you ever experienced jealousy from someone who barely knows you? They met you once, a short conversation, a brief interaction, yet suddenly there was coldness, distance, suspicion. It made no sense. You had shown kindness. You had shown respect. Still, the hostility appeared. Chosen one, understand what is happening. Your light activates insecurity in people who are still comfortable with darkness. Your favor exposes areas where others are pretending. And when that exposure happens, people feel pressure they cannot explain. They may call you intimidating. They may call you arrogant. They may label you too intense. But the truth is simpler. Your presence awakens a battle they have been avoiding. And sometimes the reaction is not even personal. Sometimes the reaction is spiritual. Because when heaven places an assignment over your life, the enemy takes notice, not when you arrive at the destination. Long before that, before the platform, before the breakthrough, before the public purpose becomes visible, the resistance starts early, because the dark kingdom studies potential threats, and your spirit carries one. That is why opposition appeared when you were still learning. That is why some doors close without explanation. That is why certain people turned against you suddenly. You thought you were simply living life, but the unseen realm already knew something. You were becoming dangerous. Dangerous to cycles of deception, dangerous to systems built on compromise, dangerous to patterns of generational darkness. And the enemy always tries the same strategy. Stop the chosen one before they recognize who they are. Confuse them early, discourage them early, isolate them early. But here is the revelation. The resistance you experienced was never proof that you were off course. It was proof that you were already moving in the right direction. Your light was already visible, even before you understood it yourself. Chosen one, do not fear early opposition. It means your destiny was noticed. It means your spirit carries weight. It means your radiance was already interfering with plans you could not see. And when your existence alone begins disrupting darkness, the warfare only grows deeper, which leads directly to the next marker. Third, isolation has been your training ground, not your punishment. You felt the separation early. Long before you understood why, you remember it, being the one who did not quite fit, the one who saw things differently, the one who asked questions that made people uncomfortable. You tried to belong. You really did. You tried to laugh at the same jokes, follow the same paths, accept the same explanations. But something inside you resisted, a quiet knowing, a deeper awareness. And because of that, you were often misunderstood. People labeled you too serious, too quiet, too intense, too different. Some even called you difficult. Others simply distanced themselves. And for a while you wondered if something was wrong with you. You questioned your place. You questioned your value. You questioned why connection always seemed harder for you than it did for others. Chosen one, listen carefully now. What you experienced was not rejection. It was divine separation. There is a difference. The world isolates people to weaken them, but heaven isolates the chosen to prepare them. When others were building large circles, you were building depth. Depth of perception, depth of discernment, depth of spiritual awareness. While many people were learning how to blend in, you were learning how to see through illusion. And that kind of training rarely happens in crowds. It happens in quiet places. It happens in long seasons of reflection. It happens when distractions fall away and your spirit becomes sharper. Have you ever noticed something? The more alone you were, the more aware you became. Your intuition strengthened. Your discernment sharpened. You began sensing motives behind words. You began feeling shifts in spiritual atmosphere. You began recognizing patterns that others completely missed. That did not happen by accident. Isolation refined you. But there is an even deeper truth, one that many chosen ones only realize later. Heaven hid you. Yes, hidden. Because darkness studies threats. The dark kingdom observes patterns. It watches emerging influence. It tracks rising voices. But when heaven prepares someone dangerous to darkness, it often hides them first. Your quiet years were not wasted years. Your misunderstood seasons were not empty seasons. They were concealed seasons, training seasons, protection seasons. While the world overlooked you, your spirit was being strengthened. While others underestimated you, your perception was becoming lethal to deception. Chosen one, what felt like exile was actually strategy. You were off the radar. You were being shaped away from noise, away from manipulation, away from systems designed to dull spiritual sensitivity. And now look at you. You see things most people cannot see. You sense shifts others ignore. You recognize darkness even when it disguises itself as light. That awareness did not come easily. It was forged in solitude, forged in quiet battles, forged in seasons where it felt like you were walking alone. But you were never truly alone. You were being prepared. Because the radiance you now carry requires strength. And strength is rarely formed in comfortable environments. It is formed in hidden places. And once a chosen one emerges from that hidden training, their presence becomes far more difficult for darkness to manipulate, which leads directly to the next marker. Fourth, your discernment cuts through spiritual camouflage. You have felt this for years, that quiet signal inside you, a subtle alarm that activates when something is not right. You could be standing in a room where everyone else feels comfortable, everyone else feels impressed, everyone else feels inspired. Yet inside you, something tightens, something unsettles. Your spirit whispers a warning. You cannot always explain it. There may be smiles, friendly words, polished confidence, but underneath it, you sense something else, a distortion, a misalignment, a hidden current beneath the surface. Have you ever experienced that? Of course you have. Chosen one, this is not suspicion, it is discernment. And discernment is one of the most threatening gifts to the kingdom of darkness. Because darkness survives through disguise. It hides behind charm. It hides behind authority. It hides behind appearances that seem harmless. Sometimes it even hides behind what looks like light. False light. Have you noticed something else? Certain people drain you instantly. You leave a conversation feeling heavy, confused, exhausted, even though nothing dramatic happened. No argument, no conflict, just an invisible pressure. That is because your spirit detected something your mind had not yet processed. Energy does not lie. Spirits reveal themselves, and your discernment picks up those signals quickly. This is why environments built on manipulation feel unbearable to you. You cannot relax in them. You cannot ignore what your spirit senses. While others may overlook subtle deception, you feel it immediately. And that awareness has often made your life harder. Let's be honest. Your discernment has cost you relationships. It has cost you opportunities. It has forced you to walk away from situations that look promising to everyone else. People said you were overthinking. They said you were too cautious, too intense, too guarded. But later, the truth always surfaced. The motives were revealed. The masks slipped. And suddenly what you sensed early became obvious to everyone. Chosen one, this is not coincidence. Your discernment is part of your radiance. It is part of your assignment. Because when someone carries genuine spiritual light, They do not just shine, they expose. Your presence disrupts camouflage. Your awareness reveals hidden agendas. And the Dark Kingdom hates that, because deception is one of its oldest strategies. Confuse people, distract people, blind people with appearances. But when someone like you enters the environment, those strategies begin to fail. You see too much. You feel too much. You recognize patterns others miss. That is why certain individuals become uncomfortable around you. You may never accuse them. You may never confront them. Yet they sense something dangerous about you. Your awareness, your clarity, your refusal to ignore what your spirit recognizes. Chosen one, understand this clearly. Discernment is not paranoia. Discernment is protection. It protects your purpose. It protects your energy. It protects the path heaven is preparing for you. And when your discernment becomes sharp enough, darkness struggles to operate freely in your presence. But that awareness also triggers something else. Because once darkness realizes you can see through its disguises, it begins escalating the pressure, which leads directly to the next marker. Fifth, your growth triggered silent surveillance in the spirit realm. You felt the shift. There was a time when life felt difficult, but manageable. The challenges were there. The confusion was there. But the pressure had limits. Then something changed. Not suddenly. Gradually, you matured. You began understanding yourself more deeply. You began healing old wounds. You began seeing through patterns that once controlled you. Your thinking sharpened. Your spirit awakened. And strangely, the battles intensified. Have you noticed that? The moment you began growing, resistance increased. Old temptations returned. Situations you thought you had already overcome suddenly reappeared. People from your past resurfaced at strange moments. Distractions became louder. Pressure became heavier. And you wondered something quietly. Why is it getting harder now? Chosen one, listen carefully. This is not punishment. This is surveillance. The unseen realm monitors potential threats. It observes movement. It evaluates influence. And when someone begins stepping into genuine spiritual authority, the enemy takes notice, not casually, strategically, because darkness does not waste energy fighting people who pose no threat. It studies danger. It tracks rising influence. It watches those whose obedience could disrupt long-standing plans. And your growth changed something important. Before you were learning, before you were exploring, before your light was still developing, but the moment your awareness expanded, the moment your discernment sharpened, the moment you began choosing alignment over comfort, your threat level increased. That is when the surveillance began. Have you ever wondered why certain temptations appear right before major breakthroughs? Why distractions become strongest when you are about to move forward? Why emotional attacks hit when your spirit feels closest to clarity? This is not coincidence. It is interception. The enemy attempts to interrupt what heaven is building, to delay, to discourage, to confuse, because every step of your growth weakens the hold darkness once had over your life. Every healed wound removes another point of control. Every moment of obedience strengthens your authority, and the kingdom of darkness recognizes that pattern. That is why old traps suddenly reappear. Not because you are weak, but because you are advancing. The enemy revisits familiar weapons, familiar distractions, familiar voices. It hopes that something that once slowed you down might slow you down again. But here's the truth many chosen ones eventually discover. Growth changes the battlefield. The same traps that once confused you now reveal themselves quickly. The same voices that once influenced you now sound hollow. The same temptations that once pulled you sideways now feel obvious, because you are not the same person anymore. Your awareness has evolved. Your spirit has strengthened. Your radiance has intensified. Chosen one, the pressure around you increased because your authority increased. Darkness began watching because you became harder to control. Your obedience started disrupting patterns the enemy once relied on. And when a chosen one reaches that level of awareness, the battle shifts. Because you are no longer just surviving spiritual warfare, you are interfering with it. And when your very growth begins dismantling the enemy's strategies, your presence becomes even more dangerous, which leads directly to the next marker. Sixth, you cannot blend in without dimming your own flame. You have tried, more than once. You tried to become quieter. You tried to become less intense. You tried to smooth the edges of your awareness so others would feel comfortable. You told yourself it would make life easier. If you just relaxed a little more. If you just stopped noticing so much. If you just stopped questioning what your spirit was sensing. Maybe then you would fit. Maybe then people would stop reacting to you. Maybe then the tension would disappear. So you experimented with shrinking. You held back your insights. You silenced your instincts. You ignored the quiet warnings inside you. And for a moment, it seemed to work. The atmosphere became smoother. People relaxed around you. You blended in. But something else happened, something heavier, inside you. The pressure grew. Your spirit felt restless. Your energy felt drained. Your clarity felt clouded. Have you ever experienced that? That strange exhaustion that comes from pretending to be less aware than you truly are. Chosen one, understand this truth. Normalcy was never designed for you. The systems of this world are built around comfort. Comfortable conversations, comfortable compromises, comfortable blindness. But your spirit was never wired for comfortable blindness. You see too much. You feel too much. You sense what others ignore. And when someone with genuine spiritual radiance tries to shrink into ordinary patterns, the result is internal conflict. Because your flame was never meant to be hidden. It was meant to illuminate. That is why blending in always costs you something. Your peace, your clarity, your spiritual strength. The moment you suppress your awareness, your energy begins to collapse inward. And darkness prefers it that way. Because a dim light is easier to manage. A quiet chosen one is less disruptive. A spiritually exhausted person becomes easier to influence. That is why the pressure to just be normal has followed you for so long. It is subtle. Sometimes it comes through social expectations, sometimes through criticism, sometimes through the quiet suggestion that you are too much, too perceptive, too discerning, too spiritually intense. But chosen one, listen carefully. Your difference is not social, it is supernatural. You are not different because of personality. You are different because of alignment. There is a spiritual frequency within you that refuses to synchronize with deception. Your flame rejects environments that feed on illusion. Your awareness refuses to cooperate with systems that thrive on compromise. And when someone carries that kind of radiance, blending in becomes impossible. Because every room built on distortion will eventually react to your presence. You do not have to speak loudly. You do not have to confront anyone. Your mere alignment with truth becomes disruptive enough. Chosen one, stop trying to shrink what heaven designed to shine. Your flame is not the problem. Your radiance is the weapon. And every time you stop dimming your light, darkness loses another place to hide. But as your radiance becomes more visible, something else begins to happen. Your voice begins carrying authority. Your words begin shifting environments. And that leads directly to the next marker. Seventh, your words carry weight beyond your awareness. You may not have realized it at first. You spoke like everyone else. You shared opinions. You offered encouragement. You expressed what you felt in your spirit. But slowly, something strange began to happen. Your words started producing results. Not occasionally, consistently. You told someone they would overcome a difficult situation. And somehow, they did. You encouraged someone who felt defeated. And suddenly their confidence returned. You spoke clarity into confusion, and the atmosphere around you shifted. Have you noticed that moments where something you said seemed to linger in the air, as if the words carried more than sound, as if they carried force? Chosen one, listen carefully. This is not coincidence, this is authority. Because when someone carries genuine spiritual radiance, their words stop being ordinary communication. They become declarations. Declarations that move through the unseen realm. Declarations that disrupt darkness. Declarations that activate alignment. You may not feel powerful when you speak. In fact, many chosen ones speak gently, quietly, sometimes even hesitantly. But authority does not always arrive with volume. Authority arrives with alignment. Your words carry weight because your spirit is aligned with truth, and truth has power. Have you ever spoken something positive over someone and watched their entire posture change? Their shoulders lift, their eyes sharpen, hope returns. That is not just emotional encouragement. That is spiritual activation. Your words release energy. They awaken possibility. They interrupt despair. And darkness notices that immediately. Because the enemy understands something many chosen ones do not fully realize yet. Your voice interferes with its influence. Where darkness tries to spread confusion, your words bring clarity. Where darkness tries to spread discouragement, your words restore courage. Where darkness tries to spread fear, your words introduce peace. That is why certain people react strongly when you speak truth. Even when your tone is calm, even when your words are simple, something inside them feels challenged. Because authority does not negotiate with deception. Authority exposes it. Chosen one, this is why you must guard your voice carefully. Your words are not casual tools. They are instruments of influence. When you speak life, environments change. When you speak clarity, confusion weakens. When you speak truth, illusions begin to collapse. That is why darkness tries to silence voices like yours, through doubt, through criticism, through subtle pressure to stay quiet. But understand this, your voice is not accidental. It is part of your assignment. The radiance you carry flows through your words, and every declaration aligned with truth becomes another disruption to the enemy's plans. Chosen one, do not underestimate what happens when you speak, because the authority in your voice is only one layer of your radiance. There is another layer, one that appears when pressure increases, one that reveals itself right before breakthrough. And that leads directly to the next marker. Eighth, attacks intensify before every level of expansion. You have seen this pattern more than once. Just when things begin to move forward, just when clarity appears, just when your spirit feels ready to step into something greater, the pressure arrives, suddenly, unexpectedly, a wave of emotional warfare. Old fears resurface, unexpected conflicts appear, situations that once felt stable begin to shake. Have you noticed it? Moments where everything seemed to be aligning? Then chaos tried to interrupt the momentum. Relationships shift. Misunderstandings appear out of nowhere. People who once supported you suddenly question you. And you stand there wondering, why now? Why when things were finally improving? Why when you were finally gaining confidence? Why when you were finally stepping into your purpose? Chosen one, understand this pattern. The closer you move toward expansion, the louder the opposition becomes. Because darkness can tolerate potential, but it fears activation. As long as your purpose remains dormant, as long as your radiance stays uncertain, as long as your voice stays quiet, the enemy remains patient. But the moment you begin stepping forward with conviction, the moment your awareness becomes stable, the moment your obedience becomes consistent, everything changes. Pressure increases, not because you are losing ground, because you are gaining it. The enemy attempts one final strategy: disruption before breakthrough. You see it throughout your journey. Right before clarity, confusion tries to return. Right before elevation, discouragement appears. Right before expansion, emotional warfare intensifies. It is not random, it is strategic. Darkness hopes the sudden pressure will make you retreat. It hopes the tension will make you question yourself. It hopes the instability will make you pause long enough to miss your moment. But chosen one, here is the revelation. Pressure before expansion is not a warning sign. It is a confirmation signal. It means movement is happening. It means something in your life is shifting beyond the enemy's control. And when that happens, resistance spikes. Think about your past. Look closely. Every major shift in your life followed this exact pattern. Right before a new level of clarity, there was confusion. Right before a major breakthrough, there was emotional warfare. Right before a new opportunity, there was instability. The pressure always appeared before the expansion. And yet, you moved through it. You survived the confusion. You endured the tension. You walked through the instability. And on the other side, a new level of strength appeared. Chosen one. The enemy does not attack empty ground. It attacks rising territory. Your destiny represents territory that darkness cannot afford to lose. That is why the opposition grows louder when you approach it. But understand this clearly. Noise does not mean defeat. Noise means fear. Fear from a kingdom that knows its influence is weakening. Every attack before expansion reveals the same truth. Your presence is becoming harder to contain. Your radiance is becoming harder to suppress. And the closer you move toward the fullness of your assignment, the more desperate the resistance becomes. But there is one final marker, one that explains why the warfare around your life has never been ordinary, one that reveals the true reason darkness reacts so strongly to your existence, and that revelation begins with the final marker. Ninth, your radiance is not just light, it is a strategic threat to the dark kingdom. You must understand this now, not later. Now, because many chosen ones spend years believing they are simply enduring battles, surviving hardship, navigating resistance, trying to stay strong in difficult seasons. But that is not the full picture, not even close. You are not merely surviving warfare, you are disrupting plans that existed long before you recognized your assignment. Think about the patterns you have already broken, cycles that dominated your family for generations, fear that controlled people before you, silence that kept truth buried, limitations that everyone assumed were permanent. Yet somehow, when you stepped forward, those patterns began to crack. Have you noticed it? When you chose healing, something shifted. When you chose truth, something shifted. When you chose obedience, even when it was difficult, something shifted. Chosen one. That was not coincidence. Every act of alignment rewrites territory. Every step of obedience breaks structures that darkness spent years building. Because the enemy does not only work in moments, it works in timelines. Long strategies, generational influence, cycles designed to repeat endlessly. But the moment a chosen one awakens, those cycles face interruption, and interruption creates panic. Because one awakened life can dismantle decades of carefully constructed control. You see it in your family. You see it in your environment. You see it in the way people react when you refuse to repeat old patterns, when you refuse to participate in familiar dysfunction, when you refuse to accept limitations that others learn to tolerate. Your obedience breaks chains. Your clarity dismantles illusions. Your presence interrupts cycles that darkness expected to continue forever. That is why the warfare feels relentless, not ordinary pressure. Relentless pressure because the enemy is not only fighting your present, it is fighting the future your obedience will create. A future where deception loses ground. A future where generational burdens stop with you. A future where light spreads through places darkness once dominated. Chosen one, your existence is not passive. You are not just living life. You are interfering with darkness. Your radiance is a weapon, not a weapon of destruction, a weapon of exposure, a weapon of truth, a weapon of transformation. Every time you choose alignment, darkness loses territory. Every time you stand in your identity, generational chains weaken. Every time you refuse to shrink your light, the enemy's plans begin collapsing. And that is why you have faced battles others cannot understand, because your life carries consequences beyond what you see. Chosen one, listen carefully. You were never random. You were never misplaced. You were never overlooked by heaven. You were positioned to disrupt what others were never meant to tolerate, positioned to expose what others could not see, positioned to break patterns that darkness believed were permanent. You are chosen, not by accident, not by emotion, by design. And if this message awakens something inside you, let it be known. Comment the number 9 below. Stand in agreement with your assignment. Let the darkness know you are aware. And if you are one of the chosen ones who refuse to dim your radiance, subscribe to this channel. Because the awakening has only begun. More revelations are coming. More clarity is coming. More activation is coming. Remember this, You were never ordinary. You were never meant to blend into the background. You carry light that exposes darkness. You carry authority that disrupts deception. You carry radiance that cannot be erased. Stand firm, walk boldly, and never forget who you are. You are chosen, and nothing formed against your destiny will stand.